We're standing at the beginning of a totally new age for artificial intelligence. They're calling it the Agentic Era. And it really represents this fundamental shift in what AI can do, moving it way beyond just, answering our questions. It's time to talk about what happens when AI stops talking and actually starts doing.
So let me ask you something. For the past couple of years, you've probably thought of AI as, well, a super smart encyclopedia, right? You ask ChatGPT a question and it spits out a really well-written answer. But what if I told you that whole model is already becoming outdated?
Because this is the new reality. We're moving from an AI that just answers your questions to an AI that actually finishes jobs for you. It's the difference between asking for a recipe versus having a chef just go ahead and cook the entire meal.
To really get our heads around this shift, we need a new way of thinking. So let's break down the huge difference between a simple AI assistant and a true AI agent. This is really the core of this whole new paradigm.
Here's a really great way to think about it. The generative AI we all know, like ChatGPT, it's like that smart encyclopedia. It's an incredible tool for information, for sure. But agentic AI? That's more like a junior employee. You don't just ask it a question, you give it a goal.
And here's what that looks like in the real world. The old way was asking, hey, what are the steps to book a flight? The new way is a directive. Book a flight to London for next Tuesday, keep it under $500, and go ahead and create the team calendar invite. See? The AI doesn't just tell you how, it plans, it reasons, and it executes the entire task all by itself.
So you might be wondering, how is any of this even possible? Well, it's not magic. It's actually built on 3 major technological breakthroughs that together make up the pillars of this new agentic era.
These are the 3 pillars we really need to understand. First up, you've got autonomy. That's the power to act on its own. Then there's multimodality, the ability to understand all kinds of data, like images and sound, not just text. And third, and this is a big one, reasoning, the ability to actually think through a problem. Okay, first up, goal-oriented autonomy. This means you don't have to program every single little step. You just give the AI a North Star, the final objective. Then it uses this process called chain of thought reasoning, which is kind of like it talking itself through the problem to figure out the best way to get there, all on its own.
Second is native multimodality. And this is a total game changer. Instead of having separate models for text and for images, these new AIs are trained on everything, all at once. Text, images, video, sound. What that means is they don't just see a picture, they understand its context, its nuance, just like you or I would.
And that brings us to that third pillar, reasoning. I love this way of putting it. Models now have an internal monologue. They can actually think things through before they say or do anything.
This process is being called slow thinking. So instead of giving you an instant and sometimes wrong response, the AI actually pauses. It checks its facts, it double-checks its own math, and it corrects its own mistakes in logic. This is exactly what makes it reliable enough for really serious professional work. Okay, so the tech is obviously super impressive. But what does all this actually mean for us, for our jobs? This is where we start to see something called the superagency effect. And believe me, it's about to fundamentally change how we work. And the scale of this change is it's staggering. Get this, experts are predicting that pretty soon, 15% of all work decisions, I'm talking everything from supply chain logistics to detecting fraud, will be fully automated and just handled by AI agents. And that leads to this concept of superagency. And look, this isn't about AI replacing people, it's about enhancing us. Imagine one person directing a whole team of specialized AI agents, one running marketing, one developing software, another handling customer support, all at the same time. That's superagency. A huge piece of this puzzle is this massive leap in AI memory, what's called its context window. The newest models can now process up to 10 million tokens of information at once. But what does a number that big even mean?
Well, to put it in perspective, that is enough memory to read, understand, and remember every single word of the entire Harry Potter series, and then read the whole thing all over again. You could feed it your company's entire history, and it would just get it. It would understand the whole story as one single thing.
Of course, with this much power comes a whole new set of responsibilities. When you have an AI that can actually do things in the real world, not just say things, the whole ethical conversation has to evolve right alongside it. So the big ethical question is no longer just, is this text biased? Now, that's still important, don't get me wrong, but the new, much more urgent question is this action safe? When an AI can book flights or buy stocks, the stakes are just so much higher.
And that's exactly why researchers are building these really sophisticated safety systems, things like constitutional AI and agentic guardrails. The whole point of these is to make sure that while an AI agent can get tasks done, it is fundamentally incapable of ever deviating from the core safety rules set by humans. So, to wrap it all up, AI is no longer just a smart chatbot. It has truly evolved into an autonomous agent that can see, hear, reason, plan, and most importantly, execute on goals right here in the real world. Which leaves us with just one final thought. The technology's here. That junior employee, that autonomous agent, it's ready for its very first assignment. So the only question left is, what goal are you going to give it?